India's package deal: clean it up or else. A generation of Indians has grown up on instant noodle brand Maggi, which accounts for one in every $4 Nestle SA makes in India. But its non-recyclable packaging has become a big problem for both India and Nestle. Yellow Maggi packets and other plastic waste increasingly blight this verdant town in the foothills of the Himalayas and are strewn across India. Now, Maggi packets, along with chip bags, candy wrappers, and shampoo pouches from the world's biggest brands, are the target of new laws in India, forcing consumer goods companies to grapple with the waste their products generate. The daily plastic waste generation by the average Indian, while much lower than the average American, climbed 69% between 2015 and 2018, according to government estimates. Across the country, dumps are overflowing and drains are clogging with plastic, while cows, considered sacred, are getting sick after eating packaging. To get a grip, India has instituted some of the world's strictest rules on single-use plastic, forcing companies to collect packaging that is often left as litter. The country's environment minister even launched a Bollywood-style song, complete with dance moves, to persuade Indians to reject single-use plastics. India's stance is part of a broader crackdown by regulators the world over on plastic that is used just once but can inflict life-lasting damage on marine life and environments. Consumer goods companies for decades have focused on marketing and sales, pumping out billions of non-recyclable packets of everything from shampoo to coffee, with little regard for their disposal. Now the threat of fines or an outright ban on packaging that has been crucial to their success here is a major concern. Companies are counting on growth in India, on track to overtake China as the world's most populous nation by 2022, to help offset slowing sales in the West. The narrative on plastic has changed dramatically. Sanjeev Mehta, head of Unilever plc's South Asian business, told investors in December. India is Unilever's second biggest market, with plastic pouches of its Sunsilk shampoo and Bros instant coffee hanging from tiny shops across the country. Non-recyclable packaging is a problem globally, but particularly acute in countries with poor waste management. Many Indian households lack regular collection services, so they burn trash or dump it on the side of the road. Much of the waste ends up in waterways. Of plastic found in the world's oceans, 90% is traced to 10 rivers, according to a 2017 study published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology. 8 of the rivers are in Asia, and 2 flow through India. In emerging markets, products like shampoo and detergent are often sold in single-service pouches, similar to ketchup packets that come with an order of fries. The resilient multi-layer pouches protect against extreme temperatures and contamination, and most important, are affordable for poor consumers. Single-serve packets make up over 80% of shampoo sales in India, Indonesia, and the Philippines, according to Euromonitor. But like Maggi, this type of packaging combines different types of plastic with materials like aluminum that makes it non-recyclable, and of no interest to India's waste pickers, who crawl through trash looking for recyclables to sell. 3 years ago, India's government said it would ban multi-layer packaging by 2018, setting off alarm bells through the industry. We didn't want the government to phase this out and put the whole consumer goods industry into jeopardy, said Samir Patak, Pepsi's co-sustainability chief for Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. A consortium including Nestle, Pepsi, and Mentos maker Perfetti Van Mel SPA tried for months to develop a recyclable alternative. After little success, they decided on a different approach. Through street plays and workshops, the company trained 1,500 waste pickers across 8 cities to identify and collect multi-layer packaging, paying them for what they brought in. The pilot program amassed 680 metric tons of material in 3 months. In March 2018, New Delhi changed the law to allow the sale of multi-layer packaging. The caveat is that companies must collect back the equivalent volume of what they sell and find other uses for it, like sending it to cement plants as fuel. This is prompting Nestle and others to hire businesses, non-governmental organizations, and local governments to collect back packaging. Companies must collect 100% of their multi-layer packaging by the end of the next year. Half the battle is getting households to sort the garbage rather than throwing it all in one bin. In Missouri, Nestle is sending people door to door to educate residents about proper disposal and funding plastic packaging cleanups. Moves it moves it hopes to moves it hopes to replicate elsewhere. On a recent morning, 21-year-old Kiran accompanied Poonan, a waste picker, on her rounds in the town. Both women go by just their first names, as is common in much of India. Kiran, whose work is funded by Nestle, asked homemakers who answered her knock to separate packaging from wet waste. Only then can it be used for recycling, compost, or used as fuel. You should have at least two bins, one for wet and one for dry waste, Kiran told a woman who was handing over a bag of mixed trash. She unfurled a cement bag, repurposed to serve as an educational poster, with a Maggi packet, snack bags, and plastic bottle straws stapled to one end, and drawings of fruits and vegetables on the other to illustrate different kinds of waste. In Bangalore, Unilever has started paying a waste management firm, Sahas, to collect multi-layer plastic from offices and apartment buildings. In a sprawling office complex where 60,000 people work for companies like Morgan Stanley and Capgemini, Sahas staff trawl through bags of dry waste each morning. After pulling out bulky items like bottles, cans, and big pieces of cardboard, the waste is sent to a factory on the city outskirts where conveyor belt workers pick out multi-layer packaging by hand. It is then trucked to a cement kiln nearly 400 miles away for fuel. Trucking plastic long distances to be burned hurt the environment, says Madhavi Purohit, Unilever's senior packaging sustainability manager for Asia. But she adds that it is still better than adding to landfills. Unilever declined to disclose how much the process costs, but says it pays for transportation and even pays the kilns to accept the packaging. Collecting from office and apartment buildings that already separate waste is low-hanging fruit. The biggest challenge is how to reduce litter and improve household waste separation. Unilever has developed a 4-week course for schools called Plastic Safari to explain the merits of separating waste and recycling. It is also lobbying education officials to include waste segregation and recycling in the regular curriculum, hoping children will influence their parents. Despite such efforts, some government officials have accused companies of moving too slowly. Ravindra Durian of Maharashtra Pollution Control Board says companies swung into action only after being threatened with bans or having to pay a deposit on multi-layer packaging sold. Executives say the target of collecting 100% of multi-layer plastic by 2020 is unrealistic, and that details on how the rule will implement are scarce. Hassan, a former waste picker who manages a small team of waste collectors in Bangalore, says pickers aren't financially motivated to bend down hundreds of times to collect a kilogram of multi-layer waste from piles of mixed waste or just off the street. So Hassan pays him 27 rupees for 1 kilogram of plastic bottles, compared with just 4 rupees for 1 kilogram of multi-layer packaging, which is much harder to collect. As volume ramps up and costs rise, companies are looking to monetize what they collect. Some are researching other uses for discarded packaging, like in roads or furniture, or are trying to make packaging with just one type of plastic so that it can be recycled. Unilever has opened a plant in Indonesia to test recycling pouches that borrow technology used to recycle plastic components for electronic devices. Nestle, on Tuesday, launched a recyclable paper wrapper for one of its snack bars in Europe, which previously came in a plastic wrapper. Fixing Mussoorie's trash problems won't be easy. Collecting waste from houses cut into the steep hillside is punishing work. Torrential rain means plastic litter gets buried and is tough to extract. Bands of monkeys overturn bins and tear open flimsy bags of waste. During the summer, Mussoorie's cool temperature are a magnet for tourism, doubling waste and straining the resources of a town that doesn't have a regulated landfill or incineration facility. Nestle's education efforts, which began in January, spans 1,800 homes. It plans to eventually reach all 13,000 in the town, along with hundreds of hotels and businesses. It also it has also run radio and newspaper campaigns to discourage littering and encourage the separation of waste. We're looking at the project as a model for our city, says Tulki Sakra, Nestle's manager for packaging sustainability in India. Critics say the Missouri program is a drop in the bucket, and that in most Indian cities, a door-to-door campaign isn't viable. Nestle estimates it collected the equivalent of more than 20% of the multi-layer plastic packaging it sold across India last year. To hit the government-mandated target of 100% by next year, it has to scale up significantly.